Hi guys, it's Michelle Patterson here with Angel Souls, and this is your weekly Angel Oracle card reading for the week beginning November 7th, 2016. For this reading, I'm going to be using the Magical Mermaids and Dolphins deck by Doreen Virtue, and of course pulling a color card from the Secret Language of Color Oracle deck by Inna Segal. If you'd like a personal reading with me, you can go to my website at angelsouls444.com, the services page. If you'd like to support me on Patreon, I'll leave that information down below. And of course, please do not forget about the Gumroad readings, okay? Those are extra readings to go along with whatever appears on YouTube. And there are also courses there as well. That's just gumroad.com/angelsouls. Yes, I'm still working on, because I'm going to be traveling quite a bit, so I'm trying to get the December videos up and running for you guys. Still working on that though. But the extra readings for December will be the 2017 overview, and that will be available over at Gumroad. Okay. So let's just see what we have coming up here. Self-forgiveness. We're understanding our own patterns. A lot of times when people are, people outside of us are not acting the way we want them to, right? And that happens. Whether you're somebody who's used to getting bullied, or maybe, last week we were talking about narcissists, people who are just all about themselves and they, are lacking empathy, or worse, sociopaths. Sorry, Colorado Springs, but since I've moved here, I have come across a lot of people where, it's really given me pause, where I'm like, whoa, no, I'm no psychologist, but I'm also not stupid. I can see it when it's there in front of me, So it's by having those kinds of people around that triggers us to maybe look at ourselves and go, oh my gosh, where have I had narcissistic tendencies perhaps? Or where have I been a codependent? Or where have I been cruel to another one when actually they needed a little bit of compassion? And I almost dropped the deck as I said compassion. So that's what's needed here. And this is something that we need to make sure that we are extending to others. Okay? Compassion for ourselves and compassion for others, but don't be a doormat. All right. As people who are usually filled with light, it's very easy for us to get fed upon, get taken advantage of, like I said, or, and a lot of times we try so hard to be nice and we just want everyone to feel loved and understood, right? So we sometimes don't get that in return. And I bet a lot of you can relate to that message. And so I feel like this is the week where, again, with this first card, which I'll hold up here in a second, we're breaking those patterns. We're maybe feeling a little guilty that we allowed people to treat us the way that they have, or why didn't I see it sooner, this sort of thing. So take it easy on yourselves. It's a beautiful thing that you're having this discovery, and give thanks to the souls that sparked that realization within you, because without them, you would just continue on without having grown, okay? So self-forgiveness is the first card. Let go of old guilt and remember that you're God's perfect child, okay? It's all a part of being human. It's all a part of this human existence to come in here and be imperfect. So don't be afraid to do that. But again, there's a message here too of don't fight fire with fire. Okay? So I guess there's a difference between taking a stand and releasing your patterns and trying to emulate the person who is maybe being rude to you, or trying to take advantage of you. That's like a big one. You're going to hear me say that probably a lot. Taking advantage of you. Or, go ahead. Yeah, okay. So perfectionism. There's a lot of you out there who are just striving to be perfect. And I think that's why a lot of people come to the spiritual community. They're striving for that perfection and then trying to mold the spiritual community to fit their needs. I've seen that happen quite a bit. But you don't need to take that, and you don't need to take that way of thinking in yourself. Does that make sense? Like, it's not like that, okay? You're not ever going to be perfect. It's okay to be imperfect. That's what you're built for, okay? That's why you have an ego consciousness, so that you do make those mistakes so that you can learn from them, okay? Now, I know that sounds like a candy coating kind of message, like, oh, we're just, it's okay to be imperfect, whatever. But truly, honest to God, think about it. Like, how else would you learn if you just bobbed along life and everything was just fine, right? All right, so accept heaven's help. There is help here. There are signs that are appearing everywhere for you to pay attention to, so do not dismiss them. All right, it says you've prayed for help, so get out of the way and let heaven help you. As I do personal readings for people, one of the things that I get asked the most often is, What is my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing for my career? And that's interesting because as soon as you're doing that, you're locking down a process, what you think your life should look like, okay? And actually your purpose and your path is to show up and breathe and love and be loved and emulate creator. You've heard me say this many, many times, okay? As long as you're doing it, you're 75% on your path already. Who are you going to love? Who are you going to learn your lessons from? Who are you going to help learn lessons? Help them or teach them lessons so that they can learn. And yes, of course, career can be a part of that. But even in that, a lot of us get so hooked on, okay, well, I studied this, therefore I have to do that. Okay, and I have to do it for decades. No, accept heaven's help. Okay, so when solutions are coming to you, and it's not just about career, it might be about moving or, whether to be in a relationship or not, or what action to take with some conflict. Heaven is helping you. But if you get locked in on what you think it should look like, you're going to miss it. Okay? Then we have friendship. Make a date for a play day with one or more friends. Whenever this card comes up, I always feel like it's deeper than just, hey, take a day off and have some fun with your friends. This is asking you to evaluate, what does friendship mean to you? Again, let's go back to people who have certain personalities, okay? I mean, it would be very easy for you to be in a friendship and being, here we go again, taking advantage of. What is that, fourth time that's come up? So really evaluate, who are your true friends? I cannot tell you how many times someone has been like, oh my gosh, I love this friend. She's such a sweetheart. And I'm an empath. So I meet this person. I'm like, oh no, she's not. Oh no. You have no idea what she's doing behind your back. And I can just feel it. And I can feel that this person sort of brainwashes people or, whatever. So this is what, this isn't to make you paranoid and look around and go, who's betraying me? No. It's not like that. But be discerning about what your real needs are and if they are being met. Now, if you are somebody who is needy or clingy, okay, we're going to talk to you for a second. You need to look at that as well. Just because someone can't answer your text message right away doesn't mean that they don't love you. Okay, so it kind of works both ways. There are a lot of people watching this video, so it's kind of hard to speak to everybody. But friendship, what does it mean to you? Are you pulling too much on a friend? Are you not getting enough support from your friends? Are they never there? You've heard me use this example before. Are they constantly changing plans on you or flaking on you? That's not a good friend. Okay, that's not a good friend. Somebody who's not taking your feelings into account. So really look at that, and you'll have to decide for each of your individual cases, like, what does it mean to be a part of a tribe? And is it authentic to who I am, right? Again, we all want to feel that connection. We all want to feel like we're a part of something. But if it's not true to who you are, get out of it. Get out of it, okay? You can't be in a situation that's draining you. So this might be another week of big epiphanies about people, about relationships, where you're kind of beating yourself up because you didn't see it before. It could be about love partnership too, where you're like, my husband's never home. My husband says we're going to have date night on Friday and he's going to take me to this lovely restaurant and then he cancels on me. Now that's a little more complicated. You made a commitment, so you're going to have to work through that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you can take a stand lovingly. There is a way to do that. Okay. The final card we have before we get on to the color card is explore your options. It's time to look at other possibilities. It's a good time to make changes. And I feel like this kind of goes hand in hand with this accept heaven's help card. Okay. It goes back to that original message that we were talking about. Just because you think you have a plan in place and this is the plan and this is how it's supposed to go and this is how it's supposed to look and this is what, what I'm trying to manifest and blah, blah, blah. When you stand back and realize, okay, things don't have to look exactly the way I think they're going to. Universe, show me. I want to be happy. These are the emotional experiences I want to have. This is what I would like to make sure I'm doing in this lifetime. Show me. And you'll be amazed. If you're open to it, there will be all kinds of signs and symbols that keep coming to you. Okay? I was going to plan a little trip with a friend, but I have some family stuff going on. You guys know about my grandpa and everything. But so I was kind of like, ugh, my heart's just not in it. But then I was just thinking about, moving and, again, I know, where do I belong? This is my midlife crisis, right? Where do I belong? Kind of thing. And then in the mail, I get this tourist book for Taos, New Mexico. And not that I would move to Taos, but I'm just saying, like, it was just kind of interesting, explore your options, like, to me, that message, just to give you an example, that message was open your mind a little bit. You're not trapped to this one situation. You do not need to stay here if you don't want to. There are other things that you can do. Now, you can apply that to jobs. If you're really unhappy in the work that you do, and God bless you, I know what that feels like. I talk about sociopaths. Hello. I had a boss who called me into her office and beat me up for 45 minutes just because she could. And she was lying about everything and lying to everybody. And it was crazy. And this was somebody who was well into her 50s. And, when you're thinking in terms of maturity, you would think, oh my gosh, haven't you grown out of that? But I don't know. When they got things going on, it goes way beyond age. So, so if you're in a job that you don't like and you're feeling abused, and that's really what this message is about this week. Where are you feeling abused? And are we going to stop it? Okay. Look for the signs and the symbols. If you ask the universe, okay, what should I be doing for a job? Somebody might say, hey, you want to help me with this lawn work? And maybe you're a really high level executive and you get out there and you're helping your neighbor with some lawn work and you realize, I really love doing this. And I have some business knowledge. Why don't I start my own business? Why don't I follow my passions? And we get hung up on that, don't we? But sometimes your passions, hopefully you don't just have one, okay? Hopefully you have many. But it can be kind of a thing just because it's your passion doesn't necessarily mean you have to make a business out of it, but you can. There you go. They're saying, watch the blending, okay? Let us help you with the blending and figuring out how you can maybe marry a couple of passions together, okay? Is this making sense? So don't allow yourselves to be abused. You're healing from this week. So there's still this, it's kind of a continuation. I think last week was kind of a similar message, wasn't it? I don't remember. And we're going to get to the color card. I didn't forget. But there's this releasing from the abuse pattern, being aware. Some of you might start being very aware of family patterns, okay? Things that you always thought, oh, that's just normal. That's just my family, You're not taking the excuses anymore. You're just not taking the excuses anymore. And I'll give you another example here, and some of you don't want to hear it, but I'm going to give it anyway. The other night I had to have police officers at my apartment. They were funny and they were cute. Thank you, Colorado Springs Police Department. They showed up and, they were just doing their jobs, and I'm sure they had better things to do, but, this was me not taking abuse anymore and taking a stand and not allowing myself to be harassed by a sociopath. Again, I am not trying to diagnose anybody. I'm not trying to be flippant about it, but I do really, in my heart of hearts, believe that this person, I'm dealing with a sociopath. So again, we all have to live our human existence, don't we? So I called the police, and one officer, God bless him, showed up, and everything I said, he had to go, well, I think he was trying to make me feel better. Oh, no, it's probably not like that. Oh, I think you're safe. Oh, I think you're fine. I don't think she's going to do anything to you. Blah, 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 blah. And he's doing all these things. And I'm watching him, and again, feeling his intention. Okay, I was feeling his intention that he meant well, but he was invalidating everything that I was saying. And I'm like, dude, you haven't been here for as long as that. You're not living what I'm living, right? But I appreciated his intention, and I would encourage you to do the same if it feels right. But when they left, I was like, this is the problem, isn't it? Nobody values emotions. Nobody is that concerned, it seems. Well, I'm making a grandiose statement saying nobody's concerned about it. Take it with a grain of salt. But what I'm saying is that, we don't honor our psychology enough, and we don't honor our emotions. Or we're so worried about the emotions that we're not grounded. Okay? So we need to strike this balance, and we need to start standing up against people who are abusive. Because remember what we were always talking about, the shadow force is working through people. And I think it does express, and we'll just stay with the example we've been using throughout this whole thing, I think it does express in personality disorders, okay? Where people are narcissistic. They're only caring about themselves. Their empathy is shut down. Yes? On the other side of the spectrum, you have people who are way too empathetic, okay? And again, that's where you start getting into that codependent thing. So, guys, what are we going to do about this? And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm like really putting it out there like, that's the message. What are we going to do about it? Like, how do we achieve our balance? They're saying we're here. You want to ask us? Yes. How do we achieve our balance? Okay. I didn't catch all that. So I think what the thing is like, don't try to overcorrect. Again, this is not going to that narcissistic person in your life and going, you're a narcissist. That's not going to help you. Okay. But setting up boundaries for yourself, self-care. Oh, that's interesting. So focusing on the self, obviously, we always talk about self-love and everything. So focusing on the self, amping that up, and then they're saying the choice will be clear. And a lot of you out there are like, well, you're an energetic, please. Just like there's pop psychology, which I've been using here, and I'm sorry. I think there's pop spirituality, and people just love to throw, oh, well, you're, attracting in these kinds of people, or, oh, you're doing this. I think it's way more complicated than that. But I think the whole thing here is, in order to strike a balance, you have to set boundaries with yourself, work on self-care, self-love. This will raise your frequency. And yeah, I guess to some extent you won't be a vibrational match, but I think that they're talking more about clarity. And Michael's in here, getting that clarity. So when you are seeing somebody who might be dealing with that, remember, that person at some point had to be in pain. At some point, no matter how they're expressing, no matter what they're doing, something had to happen for them to act like that. You know what I mean? So that's a practice in our healthy empathy and our healthy compassion. I know this is such a complicated thing. I'm trying to make it very concise, but that's the best I've got right now to give you. So really focus on self-care. Don't overcorrect. Don't start fights this week. All right? But if someone is being abusive, know that you always have the right to walk away. You know that you always have, there are resources there. Accept heaven's help, okay? Especially when they're showing you the path to go on, okay? They're still going. Don't believe, they just keep saying, don't believe that you are stuck. They do that. They echo things sometimes, and I know that that's my cue to keep saying it. The past does not need to define your future. You can let your lessons be done. So, let's say you grew up in an abusive family where you weren't allowed to speak up. You weren't allowed to say when you were hurting. You're, again, completely invalidated. Doesn't mean that you have to continue on that way. Also doesn't mean that you have to turn around and hate your family. Again, all these things come from a place of pain. So, is any of this making sense? I feel like some of you out there are going, wait, what? Like we just talked around, what? I know, I feel the same way. All right, let's get a color card and let you on your way. There we go. Color card for this week is watermelon. Have fun with your inner child. The number is 3. Yes, this is taking a lighter approach. Yes, this is honoring that inner child, healing that inner child. But I think that's the biggest message with this, because we were just talking about abuse. We were just talking about sort of the collective pain. Again, it expresses in so many different ways. And it's hard. It's hard when someone is using their pain and thinking they have a right to then harm you or interrupt your life or, try to drag you down with them. But when you honor that inner child, again, it's all about that self-love. You are strong enough that you can observe it and not be affected by it. Okay? So work on that this week, guys. Kind of an odd message, but there it is anyway. I'm sending you guys so much love, and take care. Bye-bye.